Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my garden. In today's video, I actually initially planned to take you with me into the vegetable garden, but we had rain throughout the entire night and that transformed the vegetable garden into a massive huge mud pit. So no such thing as any vegetable gardening for today, but there is another project that was actually on my mind for a couple of days, and I think today is just the perfect time to do it because we are expecting really cold frosty nights and days again. But I realized that the Salvia caradonna, which I introduced to the garden last year, still has some really nice fresh green shoots from last year actually. And after like really cold nights and cold days that we're expecting, everything which is green now will be pretty much mushy and dead afterwards. So I thought I'm going to give it a go and try to propagate some more salvia from cuttings. And this is exactly what I want to share with you today. First of all, I'm going to take you with me to the back of the garden and show you those plants, show you how I take the cuttings, and then we quickly go back inside where it's nice and warm and pot them up. So hope you are excited to join me in my garden today again. Oh look, the sun even comes out. How beautiful, but it is really soggy and wet everywhere, like even in the borders it's quite mushy. I already cut back just a tiny bit here. There is a big patch of Bistorta, and after snow and rain and snow, and they were just so mushy and they really started to rot already. So I was like, ooh, I don't think that this is good. So this is the only thing that I started to cut back, because in general it is always good to leave everything for winter structure, but also a lot of the plants give shelter to insects. But what I want to focus on today is this patch here, and you can see in between the salvias there's still a couple of green, lovely, fresh stems. And these are exactly the ones that I want to take off today. So most of the plants are kind of like brown and pretty much dead as a doornail, or the top growth at least. Towards the center, they look really lovely, but these shoots here, they still look really lovely. Some of them even try to produce flowers. So I'm going to take care of that situation as well. So what I'm going to show you first is how I take the cuttings here. Normally, it is a very odd time of the year to take any kind of cuttings, because if you take cuttings, you would take fresh new shoots. These are no fresh new shoots, but still I want to give it a go because it's going to take ages before I start my sowing, my indoor sowing at least. And up until then, I try to propagate some of these, and fingers crossed that they will root in, because by the time that I will start sowing my seeds inside, I will definitely know if this project is going to work out. So what I'm going to show you first is how I do take the actual cutting here. The ideal time of the year to take cuttings is May, June time normally, but now it is a little earlier in the midst of winter, and I think you can tell how many lovely fresh shoots are actually here. So what I will do now is, because it already starts to snow a little bit, I'll do it fast. I come in with my secateurs, and then I will just cut off one of these branches, remove already all the mushy leaves once we're outside here. All the rest I will do inside, so all of those can go, and then I put it immediately into a poly bag, because the second that you separate any kind of cutting from its mother plant, it still loses moisture. So you do want to stop it and then put it into a poly bag, close it. And what I will do now is very quickly find my way through here and cut as many nice stems as I possibly can. The weather honestly surprised me now. It started to snow and kind of hail, and it's like a day where you're like, oh, I'm so happy that I'm going to do a little indoor project now with you. And I have a gut feeling that the vegetable garden has to wait a little longer. What I did is I've already prepared a little bit here. So this is one of these like indoor windowsill greenhouses that I love to use because they just have the perfect size there. Long, which means that they fit just perfectly onto the windowsill. Also, they're narrow and long. And what I do is I kind of upcycle these tiny little white pots here. You might remember them even from last year eventually. I bought hyacinth in there, white hyacinth, and then I thought they're the perfect ideal size, kept them. They're really good quality as well. So sometimes, you know, it's like, it is plastic, but I can use it for years and years. I'm not going to throw them away. I filled them with a special compost or like potting mix that I prepared on my own. So I use a peat-free garden compost from the garden center and mix it with sand. And on average, I would say you use 2/3 of garden compost and 1/3 of sand. And the reason for it is you want to make sure that the potting mix is really lofty and light, and sand does that. You can also use a little bit of perlite if you have. I don't have anything here right now, but sand is perfect. It will absolutely do the job. And you want to have a nice and a lofty potting mix, because when you do take these cuttings and put them in there, you want to make sure that the soil stays nice and kind of like at the same level moist. So it should not be too wet, but you also want to make sure that it doesn't dry out. And when it's lofty and first roots are going to start to build at the stems, then they have the ability to really root fibrous and nice into all different areas. Because if the soil would be too compact and too dense, these little plants would have a big problem in rooting in. So what I do now is, I will give you a closer look in a second. I really took the cuttings fast in the end. I'm still going to remove some of these mushy leaves here. You can also do it with a kitchen knife. Now, so this is a sharp and sterile kitchen knife, so you can always come in with that and just remove everything where you feel you don't need it. Because the thing is, like, if you do take cuttings and if you put them into the soil now, all of these leaves are more surface area, and more surface area means that more moisture is going to evaporate through these leaves, and you want to reduce the amount of surface, because then the plant can really focus on trying to produce roots. It has a little bit of a side shoot here, so what I will do is I will just cut underneath here, so a nice fresh cut, and I am also going to nip off the top. I think I will remove one more of these leaves for sure, probably even the second one, because I see that towards the stem, where the leaf axes are, there are new side shoots appearing. And this is good, because if I nip off the top point now, then it is not going to just shoot up and try to produce eventually a flower that sits in here. Then it is really going to focus on, first of all, producing nice roots, and then also put energy into the side shoots, because those are the ones that will actually make a nice bushy plant. So what I do now is just take out the top growth, and this is what I'm left with. It looks really lovely, I have to say. And all I do now is, well, normally I use a chopstick. Now I'm going to use my scissors, because I don't really have an old chopsticks that I would use for it. Just make a hole in the corner of the pot, firm it in with your finger, and that's all there is to it. It's very simple and very straightforward. The reason why you put it on the corner is that it kind of works better, and really don't ask me why it is like that. I also try to do cuttings and put them really in the middle of the pot, but from my experience, it always works best when they're really sitting at the corner of the pot. No idea why it is like that. This is just really my personal experience. If you have the answer for it, please share it with me. I'd be very intrigued by that. But this is all there is to it. So what I'm going to do now is really work my way through all my lovely cuttings now. See how many I actually have, because I was just like rushing through the entire thing here, and get as many out as possible. Then I will water them in. I'm going to show you in a second how I water them in. And I'm really excited, and I hope I can give you lovely updates at one point, because by the time that I will start sowing my first seeds indoor, by that time I should be able to already see if this is going to work out or not. So before that happens, I'm just going to put all of my lovely cuttings into my mix and give you an update then on how it looks, how I water it. This is what I have now, an entire, well, almost entire full seed tray with cuttings, and aren't they looking cute? I really hope it's going to work. It'd be so nice. I mean, if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world, you know? I just saw that they're nice, fresh green stems, and why not trying it? So all that I'm going to do now is come in with water and pour it in to the little lovely tray here, because if you do it like that, then the water is going to soak in from underneath the containers, and the stems are really going to be like soaked into the soil, and this is what you want. So I think this might be off for a flying start. I hope they are. So all I'm going to do now is put the cloche on top of it, and then off they go onto the windowsill. And then I'm gonna just check every now and then how the moisture level is inside, but once the closure's on top of it, the moisture level should stay quite all right in there. I'm really happy about this project, and I hope that I can give you some nice updates about this very soon. That's it for today's video. If you've never tried to propagate anything from cuttings, I can only heavily recommend it to you. It is an amazing way to amp up your game and have more of your plants that you really love to have in your garden, almost for free actually, because you have the plants anyways, and this is a good opportunity on how to get more out of those plants. If you've never done it before, as I said before, I think I said it before, May and June are always the best time of the year to do so. Also a little bit depending on what kind of plant you do. If you want to take cuttings from asters, for example, I will do that a little bit later. But if you're a complete novice, the best plant to start with are sedums, because they're almost like fail-proof. It always works. You do it exactly the same way to how I've shown it here with the Salvia cuttings. Also, asters work great, as I just said. Penstemon are amazing. Phlox are amazing. A big range of plants respond really well to cuttings, and it is just a great fun way of having more plants in your garden. So all I can say now is thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope it was interesting for you. Thank you if you decide to subscribe to my channel, if you give me a thumbs up, and I would honestly love to welcome you, hopefully with better weather in my garden next time around. Take care, guys. Bye.